Welcome one, welcome all to the Hickory Chaz YouTube channel. We're going to get right into it here at probably my favorite course that I've played in all of New Jersey, Francis Byrne Golf Course. Based in West Orange, New Jersey, it is a municipal course run by the city. Piped that drive right down the middle to start, always a good start. This is a great view from the patio. Went through a pretty extensive renovation. I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of like $3 million to really renovate and get this place back to restoration of the Charles Banks design and architecture. And it came out just tremendous. It's always in great shape. It's one of the best values for money if you can find a tee time, which is always a little bit suspect. But just my favorite part of this course is the green complexes, the entryways to the green. You really have to think your way around it. The greens are pretty extreme, interestingly shaped to be able to access those areas. Long birdie putt here to start, cozied it up pretty nicely. But you'll see probably my favorite hole on the entire course, and I would say maybe the signature hole after this restoration, is getting the second green upcoming here back to a true Biarritz. A deep groove Biarritz. Long green. It's got to be 50 yards long. And it's a long, good, solid par 3 with bunkering on either side. I'll talk about the holes as we go a little bit. But really, you can see that bulging in my... Here's a good view of the Biarritz there. Yeah, super cool. And then this great bunkering. They've redone all the bunkers. They've added a bunch of new fairway bunkers as well. Not a terrible result on that one. Long putt for par. But I've tried to capture some of the awesome angles of this course. There are so many. And again, it's always in pretty good shape. This round took place about a month ago, I'd say, and we got kind of a cooler day, a little bit rainy, a little misty. One of my favorite conditions to play in. Just comfortable and fun, in my opinion. And this is another great hole, the third. Not a super long par 4, just so straight away, yet you've got trouble kind of on wielding on both sides with a good solid fairway bunker right in the landing zone for a medium to long length hitter. This one just skirted the bunker. Got my rangefinder in my back pocket there. That's what's bulging out. This one I actually went ahead and shanked. Doesn't look like it on the tracer, but I caught a ton of hosel there, unfortunately. So here I am in the thick stuff. Plenty of kind of fescue grass. I wouldn't necessarily call this course any particular theme. Like, it's not necessarily a parkland. There are parkland elements to it. There are some tree-lined elements to it. There's definitely a ton of fescue and some interesting green openings that make it kind of linksy as well. And I just made a mess of this hole, but ultimately a pretty good chip to clean up my 5. Interestingly, this golf course was at one point the lower course for Essex County Country Club, which parallels a couple of holes on the front 9. This one was pure butter.
So how far are you playing that club, just so I have a sense?
Probably 210.
Not in love with my outfit today, I'll be honest, but it fit the conditions. I didn't know I was going to be recording. I just kind of spur of the moment brought the camera out here just to really wanted to show you all again this sort of one of my favorite courses that I get to play.
I thought that would get a kick.
Interesting middle tier on this green. Anything left of that pin kicks way down into a low tier, low area on the green. Taking the putter, you can't quite tell, but it's very extreme on the right side. I thought I was going to get a little bit of a better kick on that second shot. But I've said in other videos, my favorite type of golf is relatively, I don't want to say wide open off the tee, but definitely a tiny bit more generous. Nice par putt there to cap that off. A little more generous off the tee with interesting green complexes and visual green complexes in. Definitely a fair share of template type holes. This one, I guess you might consider to be a short template, about 145 yards. If they put the pin in various spots on this green, the right side kind of acts like a Redan and pushes the ball from right to left pretty aggressively, actually. For birdie. And a shake of the head, birdie down, back to 1 over par. I think this is ranked possibly the most difficult hole on the front nine. I kind of disagree with that. They took down a bunch of trees down the right side. Now they've added some fescue, which creates some interest and intrigue off the tee. But this green is another really fun one. You'll kind of get a sense of the green complex on the second shot here. I went with the matching blue polo with the blue saddle golf shoes. I think that's kind of a nice look. You can see on the left side of this green, it's kind of perched up as a tabletop. You cannot go left. It goes 25 feet down off that green, very extreme slope. So anywhere short was pleasant. Pleasant enough, I should say. Choosing the Texas wedge from about 5 yards short of the green. Got my trolley today, pulling the pull cart that I rented from the course. Give it an old school vibe. It's only a 2-wheeler, so not like the trikes of the modern push cart era. Short par 4 on the 7th here. I was actually swinging the club pretty well. I've since lost, in the last few weeks, I've lost a little bit of feel with this 2-iron. I'm trying to get it back. Another very interesting large false front. It can roll probably 10 or 15 yards off the front edge. I was off a side slope and just sliced this. A little bit of an audible yelp in frustration. Left myself short-sided. Difficult with these niblicks to get enough loft under them to hit these kind of floppy type shots. I actually hit a phenomenal one here, though. Nice putt by the kid. Enjoyed playing with this group today. Pissed about that one as well, I guess. Another 2-tiered green. This one, the front half of the green it's a small tier, but again, you really have to think your way around the approach shots. Another crazy green here, which we don't really get a good look of because of where the pin is on this hole. Nonetheless, one of the crazier greens you'll ever see. Probably, I guess I would say it's 3 tiers in different areas of the green, but flaring this right was never the play. Ever. Never, ever. Just get the ball back in play there. Pretty much every bunker that you see that's now kind of right in the landing zones, there's one right behind me that you can't see, is completely net new from the restoration that was done maybe 4 years ago. and it's really increased the just the overall vibe of this course. Functionally placed sand off the tee ball is also another kind of pet peeve of mine to have. I think it, I like when it's wide-ish and gives you a chance to keep the ball in play, but also like penalize me when I hit it where I shouldn't. So left that one woefully short, unfortunately. The ninth hole, beautiful downhill long par 4. Really kind of picturesque off this tee. You're perched way up, probably 25, 30 yards up here. Just makes for a really pretty looking tee ball. And I just caught that bunker. As I said, right into the lip. Luckily, I had some space to hit this out of with my mashy niblick. With such a premium on ball striking with these irons, I actually find fairway bunkers to be fairly easy to get out of. I wouldn't say easy, but because I'm only thinking about contact pretty much anywhere I hit it on the golf course, the sand shots from the fairway aren't too much different as long as you can keep your feet steady. Really cool thumbprint green here. I mean, the cool holes and the cool entryways and green complexes, I'll sound like a broken record, but you can really see the thumbprint here, which is pretty sweet. Sometimes they'll tuck the pin on that left little tier. I was playing with a guy recently who absolutely stiffed it over there. I could not believe it. A nice saving par there. Pretty good and respectable front nine of 37 with the one birdie. It's a par 34, which is a little unconventional. But this back nine really generates a lot of interest. I don't think I'm doing this tee ball any justice with my camera angle, but another really cool kind of left to right sloping fairway with two cross bunkers right in the middle of it. Most players will just hit it right in between those distance-wise. I'm in a pretty good spot angle-wise there. Again, very difficult to see how uphill this second shot is, but it's another kind of built up on the right side of the green. Super high. Like if you're in that bunker that you can see on the front right, it's painful to try to get out of that. You're 10 yards below the green surface. You can get in a lot of trouble, and I have on this hole. And I have. Putt for birdie. Haven't had too many reasonable putts for birdie thus far. I have the blade putter in the bag today. I now have 3 Hickory putters. One of them is an Odie Chrisman, which have actually kind of been outlawed in competitive Hickory golf. I guess none of their clubs actually were. Here's a good look looking back down the 9th hole. Really picturesque and cool hole there. Or sorry, the 10th hole. Now we're at the 11th. But the Odie Chrisman putter is kind of that, I don't know, I wouldn't call it a mallet. It's like a half mallet putter. Apparently none of those clubs were manufactured before 1935, so they're not legal in true Hickory competitive play, unfortunately. And I actually just picked up a broomstick Hickory putter that was custom made. I'm able to use that, so you'll see that occasionally. Putting is so mental. Super smooth swing there. It's the first time I'm really watching this back. Sweet swing. Left it a little short. This is probably one of the tamer holes on the course. Not a ton going on with it, frankly. The green, you can see that putt goes so far left. There's a huge hump spine kind of going through probably 2/3 of the green. I'm muttering to myself about it, actually. That makes putting challenging, especially if you're on the wrong side of it, which I was. But a nice saving par putt there. This is a long, or from the back tees, this hole is really long, probably 450. I think it's the toughest hole on the course. Very skinny, but straight away, uphill. Can't really miss it left or right, and unfortunately I did miss it right, creating a very difficult kind of punchy, mashy, strong mashy on the second here. Didn't quite pull it off how I wanted to, but in a fairly good spot. Been working hard on these chips, getting the club head outside of my hands a little bit. I've been watching a lot of videos of various chipping techniques, and I think I've found something in it that I want to continue to work on. I didn't love that motion, frankly, but the result is fairly good. No. Just no. Here we have a principal's nose bunker right in the middle of the fairway. I'm laying up short of it. I end up flaring this one a bit right. Just didn't quite get through the ball. It's another thing I've been struggling with that 2-iron, but I was hitting it fairly well today on this day, so I thought I could get away with something. Very strange shot there. I don't even know what I was trying to do, to be honest. I ended up not capturing my third shot. I guess I was too frustrated or something, but here's my par putt, and I chipped it up there. Could not convert the par. Just showing you a little, here's the Q star that I've recently implemented into the bag. I think I switched balls there. That's why I was showing it. All 4 of us in our group hit this green, so that was cool. Pretty par 3. Didn't hit a very good shot, and again, the camera angle doesn't do it justice. Maybe if I get a little bit better equipment one of these days, I'll take it out there and try to actually capture like some of the real beauty of this course. I think it partially gets there in this video, but I don't know if you can hear it in my tone. That was nice right there. This is a short par 5, dogleg left, framed by these beautiful trees. Very reachable if you hit a good drive. But yeah, maybe I'll figure out a way to capture this course in all its beauty at some point if they let me do that, and maybe talk a little more about the history of it. Leaned a little left on this one and put myself in a very awkward position for my third on this par 5. One little Chaz tip here that I've talked to a couple people about is really the setup when you have an awkward stance is so important. Making sure that you can get as neutral of a stance as you can. So in this case, the ball's way above my feet. I'm choked down basically to the wood, so that I can feel balanced enough to make a normal chipping motion. And I hit a really good chip there. I think that's just like fundamental kind of chipping 101. And that is not putting 101 whatsoever. That sucks. You heard it from the horse's mouth. Great short par 4. Hitting the 2-iron off the tee. Really hit a nice one all the way to the end of the fairway. There's some water out there. Here you get a little look at the trolley with the clubs on top. There's my country club and Brookline head cover. an apt head cover, I think, for the Brassy. Monstrosity of a divot there, but I actually hit it pretty good, and it ended up a little short. Another green that's kind of tabletop elevated, fairly uphill second shot, and it's difficult because you really don't want to go over. And there's a false front, so distance control is everything. I think that's kind of the operative word out at Francis Byrne, is really making sure your distance control is solid. But a nice save for the par there as well. As we move on to the 17th, we're already on 17. How about that? And here is a really cool Redan style hole. The pin is completely uselessly on the left side of the green. You're unable to use the slope as a typical Redan would. And I flared it out to the right anyway. But a really very cool hole, especially when the pin's down kind of closer to where my ball ended up, because you can actually use the slope of the green to shuffle it down there. And the conditions were fairly wet, we'll say, on this day. So not quite playing maybe to the capacity that it can when it's firm and fast. Maybe later in the year as we approach August here and into the fall, but nonetheless in pretty much perfect shape. The last two holes used to be kind of two bland par fours pre-restoration, and it was converted into that Redan style par 3 and a really good finishing par 5 with a hazard all the way up the left side. A gettable one if you can put it in good position, but unfortunately I hit this kind of up the lip of the bunker. Hit a ridiculously good recovery shot though, right down the fairway. And so here we are with, a little over 100 yards with the niblick in hand, staring down the barrel of the flag, looking for a birdie to finish things off. Pancake divot, tracking, way long. That bunker you can see on the right there has a severe downslope. It's all perched up kind of on the right side of the green there, and anything over that will kick right on. So if you're hitting a longer shot in for your second shot, you can use that to your advantage, but you certainly don't want to leave it at that bunker. So it's a cool little risk-reward hole there. Nice putt to finish it off. I guess I added this scoreboard in a little early, preemptively, but a good round overall. Had a lot of fun. This is, again, one of my favorite courses in New Jersey. I highly recommend it. We had a lot of fun out there. I hope you can do the same. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week on Thursday at 8 a.m. Eastern. Thanks again.